Okay, this is episode 2 of the Cousins podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Percy Jackson series.
That just finished this weekend?
Yeah.
That just finished this
Tuesday,
week.
but...
This week.
So, I think it's important to preface that I have been a fan of Percy Jackson since 4th grade, so since I was 7.
And I have been a fan since 7th grade, and she's a junior, I am a sophomore, just so you know, just so you get the retrospective.
We read, almost all the books.
Right now, we can actually stare at the entire Percy Jackson series.
Yeah, including Heroes of Olympus. Well, actually, no.
Well, it's here, it's just not in my possession.
Yeah.
It's in
someone's borrowing it right now.
Someone's borrowing, but I do have it, and I have literally every book besides
and
a couple of the Apollo books.
And we have the Apollo ones, yeah.
But I don't have all the Magnus Chases either. I have the important ones, okay?
Yeah, we have the important ones.
Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about all the good things, the bad things, our thoughts and feelings.
As much of a fan of Percy Jackson as I am, there are some bad things, but there's a lot of good things too.
Okay, first, I just want to talk about the casting.
The casting.
Because it's a kind of controversial thing, which is weird. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I love how Walker is Percy.
Yeah, I feel like he was a perfect choice. Unfortunately, he didn't get we didn't get as many, sarcastic quips as usual, but...
That's true.
He was really good at the emotional stuff. The sarcasm was great.
I'm not gonna
lie. The
mom
mom stuff was great.
I love all three of them, but he did carry on acting.
He did.
He did carry it on his back.
Okay, but
I love them though.
I love them all. They're my little children.
For real.
But, yeah, Walker definitely carried. I actually wasn't sure how much I was gonna like his acting, because he did a great job in the Adam Project, but just, we didn't really get to see his acting from the trailers, but the moment the first episode dropped, I was like, jaw dropped.
Jaw was dropped as well.
Yeah, the episode dropped, so my jaw dropped.
Okay.
That's Arian.
Yeah. Arian did really well for this being his first...
He looks exactly like Grover.
No,
I know Grover's technically white in the books, but no, he is...
Yeah.
He is Grover.
He just is.
Because did anyone actually picture Grover as white?
I don't think so.
I don't think anyone did.
For this being his first, big project, he did amazing with everything.
There was definitely some things better than others. His face when he saw Uncle Ferdinand. The song was adorable.
He had his lows, but he had
his highs.
This is gonna be a thing, and I know it, but Leah's acting, I love her, but she's gonna do better next season.
So, here's the thing. The thing I did appreciate about Leah's acting is you could see the improvement over the season.
By episode 8,
even just by, episode 1 versus episode 8, you could, see the difference. It was actually pretty fun to watch.
Okay.
And one last thing about Orion, the only thing that I didn't like about his acting, but I don't actually think this is his fault. Mm-hmm. I think it's the editing's fault, which we are gonna have to get into.
Yes.
There were a few scenes which felt awkward, but I don't think it was his fault. For example, in episode, I think it was 3. No, or was it the end of 2? No, it was episode 3, when he comes in, when Mr. D, Chiron, and Percy are all in the room, talking about the quest. Mm-hmm. And he comes in to, tell Percy, hey, your mom's in the underworld.
You can save her.
Yeah, that scene felt awkward, but I don't think it was his acting. I think it was the editing.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about how they need to fire the writers. They need to fire the editors.
They
need to fire the editors, man. Or just get a new writer. I don't know. There's something off about that area of the show.
Something about the production, it
messed
just didn't
up. Something was wrong.
But I'm it's not even that they don't have potential, because episode 8
the potential was on its
high.
But
episode 8 definitely showed the potential of the series.
I want to talk about episode 8 real bad right now.
No, we have to wait.
Episode 8 I have so many questions about.
But so let's talk a little bit about Leah. I definitely think she had some really good scenes where I was like, okay, you did a really good job. I think her biggest issue is there were certain scenes where I was just like, you should have let her done a take 2.
Yeah.
Or, like, let her do another take. Because I'm like, I don't think it's that she can't act. Because we see her act.
She's good at it.
I think it's just the other two have more experience. She just needed more help.
It just, it looks worse because everyone else has better acting skills.
Yeah.
But she's not a bad actress.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is she has really good chemistry with the other two. Dude. Them as a group have, like, really good chemistry, and I think that's one of the main...
For Leah to get the part, she had to
flirt with Walker! Did you see his face? He looked so disappointed. He was like, I didn't know about
Second of all, he didn't know, and third of all, he was like, oh yeah, from the first audition, I know who she was gonna be.
Yeah.
Annabeth.
I was like, no, he just got, like, rizzed up, and then he was like, that one, guys.
That
one.
The one.
No, I'm not shipping them. I'm just saying it's
no,
funny.
No,
I'm not one of those people. Don't get me
put
wrong.
that in the world.
That's like adults who are like, Walker, Leah.
Walker.
No, the adults who are like commenting on the Walker edits.
Jesus
like...
Christ.
Okay, let's not talk about that now.
We can't do that.
We can't get down that rabbit hole. We can't do it.
Okay, let's talk about episode 1.
Okay,
let's talk about...
So, the intro, amazing.
Whoever did the art for the intro, we need to look that up, because they're beautiful.
Oh, do you mean the outro?
Yeah, I meant the outro, my bad. The intro is also beautiful, I must say.
The outro, amazing. So, when I say the intro, that's my bad, that was a little confusing. I was talking about that, like, opening scene with Percy as, like, a kid. I loved when Blackjack showed up.
It was really good. It was good setup.
The setup was really good.
Yeah, it was good setup for, like, how his imagination, not imagination, but, like, how everyone thought of his imagination. How he felt in that scene. The everything with, like, the camera did a good job. And young Percy's actor.
He looked exactly
popping
like
off.
him.
He's really popping off. Doing a great job. I really appreciate him because he did so well throughout the entire show. Anywho, my bad.
But I really liked the setup. I honestly think the setup was even better in the show than the books.
Yeah.
No, but there were some issues I did have. Mm-hmm. So the first one, I thought the scene in the museum was good overall. But then the moment that Nancy got pushed into that fountain, I just felt that everything after that was rushed.
Yeah, it's kind of really bad example, but, like, the movies, it just went.
Yeah.
It just went. But when I did reread the books, I did get, like, right after the Mrs. Dodds scene, like, right after the Fury. That's when I stopped rereading, because I was like, you know what, I just reread this, I don't need to reread it again.
Okay.
Anyway, I was rereading it, and I really liked the whole... I wish they showed more how Percy felt like
the
mist.
Heck?
The mist was, like, barely mentioned. And then second, how Miss Dodds, like, favored Nancy over Percy and how that affected Percy. And I know we had to be quick, but this is a TV show.
I think the actually first episode was pretty long. I'm like, I think we just needed, like, more episodes.
We needed more episodes.
Or, like, those episodes.
10. That's all we needed.
They made some episodes, like, 30 minutes because they wanted it to end at, like, an interesting place.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but let me explain what happened with this. So Nancy gets pushed in the fountain, and Miss Dodds, like, immediately becomes a Fury right then and there. So in the books, what happened was that Mrs. Dodds actually pulled Percy into another room and then attacked him.
After Percy was like, oh, she's gonna write me a new one.
Yeah.
Like, damn, guys, I just got here.
He was like, bro...
It's only been a couple weeks.
I mean, it wasn't, like, an awful change, but I think what was really bad is what happened right after.
Yeah.
Is kind of just, like, immediately Percy and Grover are in the principal's office.
Yeah.
In the book, it was, like... Sorry, you talk.
No, keep on going. Go with the book thing, because I was going to say something in the principal's office.
So, then we can get to that, because that scene was interesting. But in the books, after Mrs. Dodds turns into a Fury and, you know, Percy vaporizes her...
Yeah.
Is, like, it's, like, immediately there's just randomly a new teacher to replace her. Mm-hmm. And Percy's like, where's Mrs. Dodds? And they're like, there is no Mrs. Dodds, which they touch on this in the show, mm-hmm. but only briefly. And for, like, weeks afterwards, like, there's no Mrs. Dodds. No one knows who she is. Percy feels like he's going crazy. And this is only, like, briefly touched upon in the show. But now let's talk about the scene in the principal's office.
I honestly, just so we really, like, get a feel of Percy's loneliness, and before he goes to camp, I like the change with Grover.
Me too, I actually liked it.
Because then it adds new character, and it adds what happens later with why Percy chooses Grover, and it adds more character to Grover because Grover's super upset over this and Percy feels so betrayed, and you just really see their friendship just by this first episode.
Plus, Uncle Rick was there.
I
really liked the scene. So I liked the scene itself, and I liked the scene with Chiron talking to Percy afterwards. My biggest issue was I wish they addressed the scene more later on.
Yeah.
Because Percy kind of just, like, forgives him once they go on the quest. But it's very obvious that Percy feels, like, really betrayed by this.
Like, personally, like, to his core.
Because Grover has been, like, basically all his life his only actual friend.
Well, like, however long he went to Yancey. I don't even remember.
I think, well, in the books, he was at Yancey for, like, a whole semester or
Which
year.
Is long for him.
Or a year. One of the two. So, but...
Longer than any other school.
Yeah. And then he doesn't even get expelled in the books. In the books, like, he's basically failing all his classes and they don't like him.
I think
so they kind of make him leave.
I think it's... Wait, that's why he leaves in the books?
So, in the books, they didn't make him leave because he pushed Nancy.
It was because, like, wanted by the FBI, right? Or no?
No, that was in the second one. In the second one... Okay, this is off topic. But in the second one, they have a scene where, like... They, like... Basically, he gets attacked by monsters and, like, the school gets set on fire. So then he has to, like, leave.
Okay.
But in the first one, they just kind of kick him out. He's not, like, expelled, but it's very obvious they're like, we don't actually want you here,
Don't come back.
Don't come back.
Don't come back.
Oh, yeah, he was there for a semester. Anyway.
Okay.
Continue.
So after Yancey, love Cronin, by the way. He did really good. I'm not sure how he's gonna do for the rest of the series, but it seems like he's doing pretty well.
Is that the actor for Chiron?
Chiron. That's what I said, Cronin, didn't I?
Oh, I thought that was, like, the actor's name. I was like, okay.
My bad. I was saying Cronin. It's Chiron. Anywho, I liked him. I don't know. I think
he's
gonna do good for the other
He had that, like, great, like, seasons. Father energy.
Yeah. He's gonna have to go in a different vibe, just like throughout how the other series.
But I think he could pull it off.
He could pull it off,
like,
definitely.
You know how, like, okay, this isn't a weird example, but in Harry Potter, like, the original actor for Dumbledore, I don't know.
Good example, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if he would have been able to, like, pull off some of the stuff that happened in, like, the sixth movie, like Half-Blood Prince, for example. But the later actor pulled it off beautifully. Let's not talk about Goblet of Fire, though. But I'm like, I think Chiron could pull off that, like, fatherly energy.
Yeah.
And, like, the...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's got it.
Getting in... When Percy arrives to his apartment, a lot of people complained about this. And I saw this TikTok video, which...
I'm actually going to
I might be able to find... I don't know. If so, I'll try and put it onto the screen. But it was basically saying... When Rick was writing these first books, he was kind of naive because it was 19 years ago almost, or like 18 years ago, whatever. And a lot of people were complaining about how Gabe's abuse was not there.
I think his abuse was mostly psychological in the books.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like hinted at that he hit her, but it's never really like...
Said.
Yeah. I think I could get that, but I'm like... Me, personally, the relationship, like, abuse is, like, a lack of, like, power, or, like, someone's, like, holding a certain type of power over you. Yeah. Whether that's, like, physical, emotional. But in this scene, it didn't feel like Gabe had that power over Sally. Like, he obviously still sucks, but he kind of just felt like a, like, shitty... Stepdad.
Like an okay stepdad. Who's
like,
annoying. Like,
someone who, like, the kid would hate, but not necessarily, like, abusive. But at the same time, an argument I saw was that, guys, this is Disney. They probably don't want to show an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I get that, but I think
it's important to show.
It really shows, like, the lengths that Sally went to for her son. Because she was only with...
Queen Sally.
Sally was only with Gabe because he smelled so
bad.
He smelled so rancid that the monsters literally can't smell Percy because of Gabe. It's
hilarious.
And they don't even mention that, I think.
I know. I mean, they might in this... Might? I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it, too.
Anywho.
I'm so excited to see Aryan in a wedding dress.
Yeah, I think Aryan is, too.
Yeah.
I think he said it in an interview or something. Anyway, the introduction to Sally, perfect.
Yeah.
She's in the rain, like, hinting to Poseidon. The song that's playing in the background.
People thought it was weird, but I thought it was funny. Like, I liked it.
I thought it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, I feel like, because Sally would be sitting in the rain listening to Olivia Rodrigo.
Because why wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Oh my god, guys. We gotta talk about the D'Angelo's reference. If you're not a book person, I'll give you the timestamp to skip, because I don't want anyone to get spoiled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So... guys.
The D'Angelo's reference!
Okay, that was... I know this is, like, a random to just include, but, like, it was just too good. We have to talk about it.
We got it.
They had a... And also, okay, so this was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There was a TikTok that you showed me where in the casino scene, there were two kids...
we can talk about that later!
Okay, whatever. Well, let's just mention it now, because we're talking about the references. Whatever. There were two kids in purple shirts, kind of like,
running in the background
when everyone else was walking. And if you've read Heroes of Olympus, you know what that is.
You know.
We don't even have to say it.
I'm just saying, it's not Camp Half-Blood.
It's not Camp Half-Blood.
Okay.
Anyways. So, let's talk about the cabin scene, where the one on the beach.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Context if you want, like, a whole farm by one. They go to Lake Tahoe, because it's, like, the place I always went as a kid.
Lake. It's a beach, actually.
Shoot.
Shoot.
My bad. Beach Tahoe, I think. And they go there because it's, like, where they always went, and Sally's like, I need a comforting place to tell my kid that he's a demigod.
Yeah. I actually didn't hate the change of Sally telling him.
Yeah, a lot of people were complaining.
I think that
everyone's been complaining about everything.
I will say, so a lot of... Because PGO, Percy Jackson, has spent so long not getting a proper adaptation, people have become obsessed with the idea of getting a perfect one-to-one adaptation. And that, I'm like, that's not what an adaptation is.
It never has been. Think of Harry Potter, dude.
And I'm like, so those are the book purists. And I'm like, some scenes are actually better. And we'll get to the ones. We'll get to that.
Okay. So we get there. She tries explaining. I love the Jesus Christ scene.
The Jesus Christ scene.
She was
My dad is Jesus.
She was there. It made me laugh hysterically. Okay.
It was great. My dad is Jesus.
You're telling me my dad's Jesus Christ? And then...
anytime she says Jesus Christ, she's like, my bad, Dad.
My bad. So, she tries to tell him, I love where it's like, my brain
I was about to say, I like how in this, they focused a bit more on, like, Percy's insecurities. Because his insecurities were, like, hinted, but not fully touched on.
Not until, like... the second
book 3.
Yeah, book 3, or like
vaguely in book 2 with Tyson feeling like inferior.
Yeah, or Heroes of Olympus, really. Yeah, like if you like really getting into it. Like,
that's because he needed a new character arc to give Percy, because he already dealt with it.
He already had everything done.
So I actually liked that scene. I like that scene mostly. There were like one or two things, but those are mostly nitpicks.
Yeah.
So
Grover shows up.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, like, there was nothing much. I liked the humor. The editing was pretty good. Like,
it was actually pretty good in this episode.
Yeah, there were like one episodes were pretty good.
There were one or two scenes where it's like, okay, they're using like the black like screen
too much.
Transition too much.
The entire show.
But that's like that's, like, annoying, but it's not, like...
the end of the world.
It doesn't make the show, like, drastically worse.
Yeah.
Some of the editing later, though.
But, like, I liked the editing for the humor. It was good.
Yeah.
So they get in the car. They're going.
And I actually liked this scene.
Yeah.
I just wish that Percy said, my best friend is half a goat, but it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's whatever. It's because that changed. Anyway.
I actually liked this scene. My only issue was I felt like they were dumping a lot of info dumping.
Well, it was kind of in the books like that too, though.
Yeah,
it's only an issue because of how much happens.
Here's the thing.
Show.
So much is happening in that scene specifically. I think an info dump with Chiron and Mr. D would have been a lot easier to process, especially on screen.
Yeah.
When it's harder to, like, go back and, like, look through or, like, listen at your own pace.
Okay. And then we get there, and it's kind of
the
like...
Minotaur.
The Minotaur.
I actually...
It was kind of goofy. I loved him.
Actually, so I liked that we didn't have noise, because I'm like, this isn't some epic scene for Percy. He's like, what is going on? I'm fighting a half-human, half-bull. Like, I think it felt like you were, like, seeing it through his eyes.
You were there.
Yeah, I actually, like, this was one of the fight scenes I thought they did better on. Because
Sally ate once again. She eats
ate
every time.
And I specifically liked, like, her going to distract. That was good.
That was amazing.
That was good.
Love you, Sally. Love you, Queen. We'll see you later. We'll talk about you later, girly. And then, like, it happens. Percy kills the Minotaur fun times. That's kind of episode 1. Wait! We gotta talk about you drooling your sleep at the end of the episode.
I thought that was in the beginning of episode 2.
It's at the end. Remember? It's, like, near the end. No? Or does it end on the...
No, it's in the beginning of episode. It ends with Percy waking up.
We've been waiting for you.
Welcome to Camp Half-Blood.
Yeah, you right.
So, now let's talk about episode 2.
Episode 2.
So, Percy...
You drool in your sleep.
Also, we love that. They had to have... Everyone was talking about it. They had to have that line.
Yeah.
I wish they mentioned Ambrosia.
But that was my one big complaint.
As I was like, why didn't you mention it?
You mentioned the mist. You mentioned everything else. You mentioned Drachma. Why would you not mention the freaking thing that saves your life? It's so important.
It was really weird. But also, I do wish they had more scenes where Percy was, like, in and out of consciousness, and Annabeth was like, what do you know?
Loser.
What do you know, loser?
What do you know?
What do you know? But, I mean, I think they just... But I'm like, that's something that they could cut out. Like, it's not necessary. They could definitely cut it out. I just thought it, like, gave us a little bit into Annabeth's character.
Love the Percy angst in the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, I love that Percy immediately was like, where's my mom?
And immediately beefing with Mr. D.
Yeah, I love... The Mr. D scene was funny.
Hilarious.
I wish I don't know, the editing was, like, a little bit weird, but the actors carried. So They carried, so it's fine.
Yeah. There's not much to talk about until we meet Luke, really.
Yeah, so I thought the actual... So I'll say, I was a book reader, so I wasn't confused by what was happening. But if you only watch the show, I very easily see how the setup of the actual lore is not done very well.
Yeah,
It definitely feels like this show definitely feels book-friendly and not necessarily viewer-friendly. If that makes sense.
I mean, like, it could definitely... Yeah, but it's a high possibility that it could fix itself in the second season.
Yeah, I definitely think they're gonna kind of have to come through and, like, explain some of the stuff they brushed over. Cause
like, the Drachma, the Iris messages.
Yeah. Like, in one episode, like, Annabeth just, like, pulls out a drachma, and she's like, Iris message.
That was
like,
the casinos, like, 5, 4?
Yeah.
I think that was 5, I'm not sure.
But anyway, I don't know. My big thing is I definitely feel like the lore was not that well explained. That was one of the few, like, big issues I had is I'm like, I know for me that it doesn't matter, but as a show that especially your lore should be explained well, but a lot of shows don't do that well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Luke.
So we see Luke. Luke's nice to him. Percy has more Kronos freaking nightmares.
Dreams.
Yeah.
I thought the dream sequences were good. Yeah.
And then, so I saw this in an edit, but it was basically like every single dream that we have with Kronos like matches up. Just Percy gets older and older and older and older.
Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. Being a half-blood is dangerous. If you think you might be one of us, my advice is turn away while you still can. Because once you know what you are, they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Yeah.
Like, there's like the back scenes that just looks the exact same, but Percy's older in each one. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. That's cool.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I'd have to show it to you because I think I saved it. Anyway.
So, I actually really liked the Luke interactions. I'll say, like, the writing of them. A few of them, I feel like the way they edited them, it felt a bit awkward. Like, Luke's, like, looking at him, and then he just, like, walks up, and he's like, hey, dude.
Oh, in the first scene?
Yeah, in the first scene, he's like, sup? And Percy's like, hi.
Hey.
But I'm like, I don't know. My biggest issue with the editing is it made scenes that didn't have to feel awkward. Feel awkward.
Yeah, it's just mostly the editing is the issue in these first couple scenes. First couple episodes.
So Luke's actor did amazing with the last episode.
Great.
But I will say, with some of his initial acting, it felt a bit like dry to me.
Yeah.
Which I think the reason that annoyed me is because people were critiquing Leah's acting and not talking about his at all just because they thought he was hot.
He just doesn't have that because okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Luke's whole thing throughout this entire book is that he has this presence. Like he's the big camper. He's the one who's girl.
Sorry, my bad.
He's this like big swordsman. He's this good figure for Percy. He is the epitome of supposed to be the epitome of good in Percy's eyes.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't convey that. Charlie doesn't, and I feel bad because he did really. I think that's his name.
Charlie, yeah.
But I love him, and I think he did a good job. But he just didn't have that in that second episode.
Yeah, I also don't feel like that's completely his fault because it was very strange in the actual show. They don't acknowledge how much Luke is like worshipped at this camp. He's the best. Like, he was one of the best swordsmen. He was, like, the last person to get a quest. They also don't talk about his scar at all.
I think they're going to mention that in the third one.
I think they're going to mention it in the third one when Talia shows up.
It'd have to be when Talia shows up.
Don't get me started on Thalia instead of Talia. But anyway, I'm saying Talia.
It's grammatically correct in Greek.
In Greek, it's pronounced Talia, actually.
Thalia.
Whatever. But what was I saying? So, some of his dialogue delivery felt like a little dry to me, but he did an amazing job in the last episode.
For what he had, he did a good job.
So I'm like, I know he can do it. I think it's just that, like, the situation and some of the dialogue he got was a bit difficult to work with. He needs to get
better, not him, but just, like, the writing and him needs to get better at having that kindness presence as well, because it's very important that he has both.
Well, okay, so the main thing is that, first of all, at first Luke feels like you said, like the epitome of good, of a hero.
Yeah.
But later on, he feels very, like, angry.
For sure.
And I didn't necessarily feel the anger as much as I wanted to. Because his whole thing is, like, he's furious at his dad and the Olympians. Mm-hmm. And even before, like, Luke betrays Percy, we see flickers of him getting angry, like when they talk about his quest or the scar, like you can see that he's bitter, and I didn't feel that.
They might do, like, if when they do in like season 2 and 3, they might do that more where it's like
that's what I thought, where it's like, oh, he seems like such a chill, cool guy, and look at him now.
No, I'm thinking more like he has these moments, but then he has the flickers of good.
Yeah.
Because that is in the books, but I think they might do it more.
I think so.
Just so, like, it's more like, oh my god, you're so sad by the end. But you know what?
I will
We're
say,
not talking about that right now.
I did like his portrayal way better in the show than the movie, because in the movies, I had a big issue with the way they portrayed Luke, because he kind of just felt like a cartoon villain of the week.
Yes.
It was so weird. And even when he was, like, good, Percy did not have a bond with him.
Yeah.
I loved that it felt like Percy had, like, a real bond with him.
Mm-hmm.
There's this scene that I absolutely love where Percy prays to his mom instead of his father. And he says, I feel like I'm finally having some real friends, which is important for two reasons. One, Grover betrayed him, so he feels like he lost that connection.
Yeah.
And two, it's important, one, because they need to have that bond, yeah.
It like tells.
I was going to say something else, but I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, we can just... Before that, though, there's, like, the scene of them, like, him trying to find his thing. And I think it was pretty well executed.
Trying to find what
part.
thing?
Like, find what he's good at.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Because...
And then they go...
I just wish they had the sword fighting scene where, like, he figures out...
Yeah, that was a weird place to put it in episode 8. It just, like, by the time the episode started, you knew who was gonna betray him.
Yeah.
It was a weird way, because it...
Well,
we'll
actually...
talk about it. We can talk about it when
I
episode
actually
8.
liked it, but I'll explain why I liked it.
We'll talk about it when we get to episode 8. Okay, so then we go to episode 2? Not 2.
Well, this is episode 2.
3.
We have... No, because we have to talk about the capturing the flag.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I just skipped, like, a really important thing. Anyway.
Let's talk about Clarice. Oh, I love...
So one of the best performances, one of the best writing.
Yeah, Clarice's writing in the show is, in my opinion, better than the books.
Well, yeah, it's because Rick didn't know what he was doing yet with her character.
Which, like, it's obvious why, but it still is. Like,
yeah, it just is.
Yeah. The scene with the spear was amazing.
Dior ate
the scene where Percy broke her spear was amazing. The scene where she, like, bullied Percy and mentioned something about him, like, it was clear, like, why she was angry, which I really liked.
Yeah. You could tell it was because she was like, what the freak is this kid
like, you don't
doing
get
here?
To be, like, it was clear that she was mad that this kid just shows up and is like, I killed the Minotaur, and she's like, I've been stuck in this camp my whole life, and you just show up and kill the Minotaur? No, that did not happen.
Yeah, no, I refuse.
And, let's talk about the bathroom scene while we're on this. I will say...
we kind of skipped over that.
I do wish that the bathroom scene was, like, a little bit more destructive, but I'm like, that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal.
Leah's acting, man.
Let's talk about this scene. So, first of all, Leah's acting in this scene was... I love Leah. She's such a cutie.
I love you, Leah.
But here's the thing.
Much.
First of all, the dialogue they gave her was...
Bad.
Awkward. It was awkward and hard to deal with, and
not
the editing,
her level of acting.
The editing made it so much worse. Because the dialogue was already awkward, specifically for Leah. Like, Walker had something to work with, but Leah had to say the same thing over and over again. And, like, actors with a lot of experience can kind of get, like, the intricacies of, like, how
that
to say it. Yeah. But I don't actually think she did a horrible job with what she was given. It's the fact that the editors made it so awkward.
There was no music. There was no nothing. It was just silence.
The big thing they do is in between dialogue, they put so much space instead of cutting down the space in between, or the time between dialogue. And that was the big issue with that scene.
But, like, that scene was fine for the most part. It was just, like, an okay scene in the show.
Yeah.
It was just there. Okay, Capture the Flag, everything about it was
I love the scene where he pet the lizard and then flossed and then peed.
Hilarious.
Very Percy.
We need to talk about, because this is one complaint from the people that I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
The trident looking so big and weird.
Yeah, that was a strange choice. I thought the fight scene with Clarice was great.
Beautiful.
The part where he broke the spear was great. Again, one of the best fight scenes in the series.
Yes.
Not the best, but one of the best. They're definitely better at fight scenes with people, because obviously it's awkward to fight monsters, but, so that was really good. I thought the stuff with Annabeth with the invisibility cap was good.
Very hilarious.
And then he gets in the water, and he gets claimed by Poseidon, and the thing that weirded me out is everyone, like, Rick and everyone else knows how people view the trident. It's like this small, cute little thing on top of his head that glows. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason they made it so big is because instead of the whole camp, like, crowded around him, because of where the lake was positioned, everyone kind of had to just be, like, it had to be big enough so that everyone could see it. Mm-hmm. But it was still, like, strange.
It just looked weird.
And the way that, like, panned out, and he was just standing there, like, me small, trying to big.
Me small, trying to big. That was weird, but you know what? It's okay.
But, like, I'm like, it's not bad enough that I care. What I'm scared about is, like, if they ever make a Heroes of Olympus. Do you know the scene where, like, all three of them get claimed and Leo's, like, trying to, like, put out the fire? How would that work? Okay, it's fine.
We won't have to worry about that right now.
We don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, let's
go to... no.
Let's talk about
the quest.
The quest.
What the quest, and basically, by the end of episode 2...
I have to say something because there's no other place to put it. So, in the books, after Percy gets claimed, he feels awkward, alone. He immediately kind of gets ostracized. And just as he was getting close...
You're so right!
Yeah, just as he was getting close to people in the Hermes cabin, he got put in cabin 3, Poseidon's cabin, and he felt alone. He was confused. He was like, all of a sudden I have to eat alone. I'm stuck in this empty cabin. And it was just glossed over. And I was like...
Didn't see it.
Yeah, they highlighted his loneliness so much. And then, like, one of the biggest parts of the book, where he was feeling that loneliness, just got cut out. And they didn't need a lot. They only needed, like, 1 or 2 scenes where he gets...
2 scenes!
They needed... Okay, this is what they should have done. They should have quickly had him get sorted. Like, they opened the door, and they're like, this is your cabin now, Percy. He's sad. He's got to, like, set his stuff down. You, like, see how big the cabin is. Then we just need, like, 1 scene of him sitting alone. Like, 1 scene of him doing, like, his activities alone. That's all you need. That was literally all you needed. It could have been, like, 5 minutes.
God. Okay. Anyway. So then Percy basically finds out he can save his mom, and then Cronen's like, okay, we'll send you on a quest, because you're supposed to go on a quest anyway.
So, the quest scene was... very quick and glossed over.
Yes.
It should have ended on him getting claimed and then started out the next episode.
Because it's a big thing in the camp. It's a huge responsibility. Like, not a lot of kids get to go.
And they didn't even explain, like, how important this Master Bolt is.
No, they're just like, yeah, it's Zeus's thing, so you should go get it.
They're like, yeah, you have to, like, go help him. And also, even before Percy finds out about this, the whole camp, everyone's like, something's wrong. Like, the gods are angry. And they just don't include that, which took away a lot of the tension.
Don't even talk about taking away the tension. Jesus Christ.
That was the big issue with the quest, so what happened is, like I said, they didn't have enough time, and they rushed it, and some people on TikTok, I remember, didn't even know what the quest was. They thought it was to save his mom. And they would not let a kid go on a quest just to save a dead parent. Everyone would have to go on a quest then. And so then the scene where Grover bursts in, we already mentioned that was very awkward. The editing did not give.
No. No.
It was taking away.
It was taking away. The real question was, why did this seer... It's not Seer. What's her name?
Oh, the Oracle?
Oracle look like... Why was it Gabe?
It was Gabe in the books, too.
It was? I don't remember
It was just... I think it's just funny. I actually liked it.
Funny.
I liked it. No, because in the books, I'm pretty sure it was in the books. In the books, I think they mention that, like, she, like, spits out the green mist, and then it's just Gabe, and he's like, oh...
What the...
What the freakity frack?
I think it's funny, and I like the execution of the picking.
The Oracle scene was done very well, and I like and they didn't actually have him pick out his teammates like that.
I know, that's a thing, but I
really liked it.
Show-wise, I enjoyed how it was played out.
And I think it actually makes more sense
Yeah.
for them to be like, hey, camper who doesn't know anything, here's all our most powerful campers, and for him to, like, actually pick from them. I liked how Luke was an option.
I know, imagine if he chose Luke, man.
I think Luke is expected to be chosen.
Yeah, it would definitely help his plan out.
Yeah, I think he expected to be chosen just based on how it was shot. And I really liked the fact that Luke was, like, highlighted in that scene, and then he chose Annabeth and Grover.
Him clearly.
I know.
Annabeth, if you want someone to push me down the stairs, it's gonna be her.
The one thing I will say is that I think that if they were gonna highlight the fact that, like, he chose Annabeth because, like, why he chose Annabeth, like, the fact that he was like, oh, you and I could never be friends, or, like, if you need someone to push me down the stairs, I'm like,
it's gonna be her.
I'm like, okay, there are so many other people that were also that, like, Clarice. I'm like, I
think it's because he could stand Annabeth.
Yeah, but I'm like, I just wish they highlighted that, like, relationship between the two more.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really feel like he hated her, or, like, he disliked her. Because obviously he didn't hate her, but I wasn't feeling that he disliked her, because... So I feel like maybe at, like, Capture the Flag, it should have been like, you used me, you let Clarice beat me up, and it was only, like, briefly like that.
Yeah.
I think they should have highlighted that more, but other than that, it was good.
Walker's acting throughout, like, picking the quest part, great.
Yeah.
With Grover.
I was about to say, the Grover scene, I also really liked.
He did so well with that.
Yeah.
Blackjack mention again.
Yes.
Blackjack! I love you!
I really liked this Grover scene.
One thing that annoys me, that's kind of also with, like, within episode, like, 4, or the casino scene, they don't mention Percy's connection to horses at all.
That was so weird.
Blackjack was right there. All they had to do was have a weird scene where the horse talks and Percy's like, what the fuck? And then it's never... Yeah, that's all you needed. You didn't need to have a big thing.
I was waiting for the scene where the zebra talks, and it didn't happen.
Explain the horse thing to people.
So Poseidon's his dad, right? And he made horses out of sea foam. So in the books, Percy can talk to horses and zebras, and it's really funny. It's very funny.
Everyone's like, what the heck? Why is Percy talking to a horse?
And he talks to horses in, like, the whole series, and it's hilarious. It's, like, a big thing. And they didn't mention it at all. It's, like, one of his powers. But anyway.
Okay.
So, let's talk about the actual quest.
Wait. Well, we gotta talk about the Luke and Percy scene before.
Oh,
we gotta talk about the shoes.
Were amazing. I love the way that
CGI
the wings
was great.
I love the way that the wings, like, grew out of the, like, string laces.
Was it the shoal or laces?
It was like the laces.
Okay, it was really good though. Yeah, the Maya scene, kind of attractive. I'm not gonna lie.
Maya.
Maya.
Like, if I saw him in public, would I chase him? Maybe.
I don't, again, I never know if the show stuff is intentional, but I kind of like, because I did rewatch, like, the first 2 or 3 episodes. I liked when, what the heck am I talking about? Luke came in, and it was kind of like he was the light coming into the cabin, and the cabin was dark. I don't know if that's intentional, but you never know with TV shows. Yeah. But it kind of seemed like...
Even if it wasn't intentional, like, it still did something.
It still
Visually,
did that.
it still did that. Okay.
And it kind of showed... Which is a thing with the show. It showed and didn't tell how Luke was this light figure in Percy's eyes. Like, he was the light in the beginning.
Yeah, and he was, like... First of all, alone, stuck in his cabin alone, and then, like, finally, like, he got that interaction he'd been craving. Yeah. And that was one of the good things that the show did with showing and not telling, because a lot of the show is just info dumping, and that's the issue.
That's one of the biggest issues.
So there are a few big issues we'll highlight, and then we'll highlight, like, the good stuff at the very end. Yeah. Okay. But let's talk about once they actually left now. I actually loved the scene where they left and were getting on the bus. I thought it was well done.
sassing him around is so funny. Sit down. She's like the mother.
I know.
Sit down and we're gonna sit and then we're not gonna do anything.
I thought it was really well done. I liked the scene with the snacks and the, like, song. I thought I thought it was one of the only scenes that did, like, a really good job at highlighting the group's, like, dynamic.
Yeah.
The dynamic is well highlighted.
The roads get bumpy. That's all I know, but I find it really hilarious.
Because I got me some friends who can't get along.
Grover's song was great. Electo, it was fine. Electo was fine.
So I liked the scene where, first of all, I liked that Annabeth immediately realized Electo was there. Cause,
it shows her smarts.
It shows her intellect. And I liked when she talked to Electo.
Great.
That was a great scene.
It mentioned Thalia, mentioned that she knew what went down with Thalia, and you were like, what the heck went down with Thalia? I need to know.
No, we're saying Thalia.
Shoot.
So the scene I didn't like as much
the
is...
fight scene.
She kind of just throws a knife at her and she dies. And I was like, bro, that's a fury. That's one of Hades' like torturers.
What the heck?
And also in the books, it was very destructive. Like at one point, Annabeth puts on her invisibility cap, grabs the wheel from the driver. Like the whole bus gets set on fire.
The bus dies.
Yeah, it dies.
The bus is gone.
But in this scene, they kind of just like fought her and then climbed out a window.
And then there they are.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yay!
I liked the more Talia mentions I wish it showed and didn't tell. I think this is episode 3 by now. Yeah, this is
episode 3. Actually, I'm like, since Thalia's kind of like well, it's kind of hard to like show and not tell about Thalia. I think all the stuff they did with Talia was good. I think it was the other stuff where they showed and not told. It was just too much info dumping.
Yeah, and it just...
And too much, like, emotion dumping instead of showing the emotions they had. They'd be like, I feel this way.
And I didn't like... I mean, I don't remember when they... Again, this is kind of, like, book information, so, like, skip, like, 10 seconds. How they didn't... I don't know when they showed that, like, Grover... was there, but I don't like in the way that they showed it or like told it to us, because I don't remember when that Grover was there when Talia was turned into a tree.
Oh, I actually did like the way they did that personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's because I don't remember it in the books how it was told.
In the books, I think it was actually similar, but I like the fact that he mentioned he had been a keeper like one other time, and he was like, oh, you were Talia's keeper. I actually thought the way they did that was fine. There was problems with that scene, but we'll get to that later. Yeah. Let's talk about first of all, the scene where they escape the bus and they're wandering in the forest. I like that. I thought it was fun. Good. I liked that Grover mentioned the satyr's path.
I loved all the Pan mentions. It was great.
I wish they explained a bit more, but they did a pretty good job at, like, explaining without, like, over-explaining, I feel.
Yes, definitely.
And then the Medusa stuff. I
enjoyed it. That was one of their best moments with the monsters.
The Medusa stuff was very different than the books, but it was actually more well done.
It was more
accurate to Greek mythology, and it was more well done. And it showed a bit more about their relationships.
Some people are complaining about how the gods are perceived, but I kind of liked how it showed, like, Annabeth kind of sways in her opinion of her mother. Like, it's not, like, enough to, like, push her over the edge, but it's more like that's weird, Mom. Why'd you do that?
But I think it also clearly shows that even when someone is in front of her telling her what her mom did wrong, she, like, she knows that it's wrong, but she can't accept it. Yeah, because she spent her whole life devoted to her mom.
It's like it planted the seed, but the seed hasn't been watered yet.
Yeah. It planted an idea that she's just, like, refusing to accept.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how I didn't know if I loved... like, the Mrs. Dodge just, like, standing outside. But it kind of needed to happen, like, for the plot. So I'm like, it's fine.
And it, like, added the tension of Medusa is terrifying.
Yeah, of, like, even this fury is. So I think it just felt strange to me as a book reader. But I think it was well done.
Isn't it, like, if you get, like, petrified by Medusa or whatever, like stoned by Medusa.
If you get stoned by Medusa,
you just, with the monsters, they just don't go back to
Tartarus? No, because they're not dead. They're just stuck.
Yeah, so that's why that's what I thought. So it showed good tension. That
they
Medusa
don't explain the
is
Tartarus thing.
I know.
So in the books,
that's why I wasn't sure, and I had to ask you because I didn't remember.
So in the books, the reason that Mrs. Dodds comes back multiple times, even after being killed in the show, is that in the books, basically when a monster dies, they go to Tartarus, and eventually, because they don't have souls, they don't, like, go to the afterlife. They go to Tartarus, and then they, like, reform and go back to land. Which is why so many of these monsters, which were killed, like, centuries ago, are still around, because they don't have souls. So they just, like, die for a little bit and come back.
Yes.
Which they don't explain. So I just realized that's another thing that everyone's probably like, what? How is she back? She died.
It works because I literally forget so much. I read the books and I love them, but I forget the little details.
It's okay. I remember all the details. That's why I'm here.
Okay, and then Medusa scenes happens. They cut off her head. Fight.
I will say.
Okay.
So I liked the tension built, like the tension.
One of their best moments.
Yeah, the part with Medusa talking to them, that was great. I loved the changes they made from the book.
Yes.
The actual fight scene, kind of mid.
All right. It was there.
It was probably one of the worst ones in the show. Like, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't terrible. Like, it worked. I think the issue was they built up all this tension, and then it fell very flat.
Yeah.
Luckily, I actually really like what they do with the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love that I am impertinent.
Yeah, oh, that was great. So, I actually really liked when Percy sent the head and we see Hermes delivering it. That was great.
And of course he had to be singing because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
The second he shows up, he sings. I bet he got on his knees in front of Uncle Rick and was like, no. And if he didn't do it, then Uncle Rick looked him in the eye and said, you will sing at one point. He was like, Lin, I will make this happen. I like how because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, they literally made Hermes be in the first book. He's not even in it. He doesn't show up till book 2, and they were like, we'll get you in there.
I did like the change, though. I'm not gonna lie with you. I did like that he was in it just because it set up stuff.
Yeah.
Not the way that it's set up, but I liked the idea.
I don't like the execution, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
Let's talk about episode 4 now. I actually...
What's going on in that episode?
So, they just escaped Medusa, so this is the Chimera episode with the Arch.
Right.
I loved a lot of this episode, but let's talk about...
Most of this episode was really good. It was one of the better episodes.
The only scene that I didn't really love was the first one, when they were in the train cart.
Yeah.
This was...
I liked Annabeth and Percy's talk for the most part.
Yeah, but...
There's still things where I'm like, why are you telling and not showing blood?
So here's the thing. I liked the talk, because they do have a very similar talk in the books.
Yeah, I remember
that! Except they have it in the little, like, zoo cart instead of the train cart.
Yeah.
But I like them having it here, because... I don't know.
They don't have time.
Yeah. So, and I actually liked the talk they had. I just, like... I don't know. There were some edits I would have made. It wasn't, like... Cause
was she wearing a bonnet? I'm pretty sure she was wearing a bonnet. Was she?
No, she wasn't.
No?
Because they weren't actually sleeping. I think she was just...
Wait, look it up. I swear to God she was.
She was not wearing a bonnet. Okay.
I swear... Unless my brain is making things up in my head.
It is making things up. I remember this scene. Okay. I'll look it up.
I have to know. I thought she was.
But anyway.
Keep on going.
So, I'll look it up, but... I actually like this scene, but I don't know. Some of the, like, it sometimes felt less like we're having a conversation about our issues, and sometimes felt more like I'm giving you my backstory.
I'm giving you my
Here's
backstory.
my tragic backstory.
Definitely. I feel bad for Grover. He's just third wheeling over here.
I know, but I really like the stuff with the cop. If you remember that.
Mm-hmm. Those undertones?
Yeah.
And Percy was like, what are you talking about?
Like, I really liked the stuff with the coat. I thought it was great. Yeah.
I liked the pan setup also.
Yeah.
All the pan setup for them, like, is pretty good. Not, like, the, like, how or why, but him being told that he's there is good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I like the scene where they watch the little centaurs run.
That was cute. So, Chimera...
No, okay, wait. We can't get to the fight scene yet. There's so much else to talk about in this episode.
I'm sorry.
I loved Echidna showing up early in the train car. I thought that was very well done. I really liked the conversation they had. And I actually thought the tension building up was really good. Yeah. I liked the scene where they ran away and the Chimera was chasing them was actually really good. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, but, like, they didn't show the monster enough, I feel like.
I actually thought it was better that they didn't show the monster. It created more tension.
That's true. I don't know how I feel about that fight scene. I think it's
not the
good.
Fight scene, the build up. We'll get to the fight scene. Because we'll get to it.
Don't even talk, the tension.
Okay, we're getting to it. Okay.
Sorry.
We're skipping too much. Okay. So, because we have to talk about the Athena thing too. So, I really like the scene where they have to run away to the arch. I thought it was really great that we didn't get to see the Chimera until
they're walking. But they're walking to the arch. They're not even... Do you not remember?
Where they walk to the entrance?
When they're going...
They're running away... Yeah, okay, talk.
When they are going to the arch, they're getting off the train. The tension is built. The tension is there from that conversation, from that fight scene, from Percy getting hit with that dart. And then they start walk running.
Yeah.
The tension dies instantly.
Well, first of all, I actually... Oh my gosh, we're disagreeing about something.
We're disagreeing.
This rarely ever happens.
This never happens.
We're disagreeing right now. Okay. So I definitely see where that could come from. However, so first of all, in their eyes, they were safe soon. Because that was a sanctuary. So first of all, they thought they were going to be safe in like 2 seconds. That was
before they got to the sanctuary.
I know, but like also, personally, I didn't hate it because in my eyes, it felt more like they were trying not to like stand out because they were running.
The mist doesn't apply here.
No, well, like the mist wouldn't cover them up running.
I know.
Like I think to me it felt like they were trying to like blend in with the crowd more.
But they were in an alleyway.
Do you mean the scene where they're like running along the train tracks?
No, I'm meaning after the train tracks when they're talking, and they're like, they're going to the sanctuary. They're like on their way to the sanctuary. After the train scene, the train scene's done and over with.
I don't think it killed the tension. Like I feel like
it didn't help the tension.
Like I feel like that could be a nitpick that you're like, oh, they should have been running, but I also don't think it killed the tension.
That might be a little dramatic, sure.
Yeah, because
I just don't think it helped.
I don't know. We could rewatch this scene again and see how we feel. Like, not right now, obviously. Yeah. But I'm like, me personally, I don't think it was like that big of a deal. Like, I feel like you could be like, oh, I feel like the director should have made it feel more urgent. I get that. But yes. I feel like, me personally, I just didn't really see that.
Okay, we're just this is just a difference of opinion.
Yeah, so let's talk about... Yeah, let's talk about the Athena stuff. So I really liked...
Beautiful.
I really liked the stuff where Annabeth was like, this is a sanctuary. Monsters can't get us here.
Touched here.
And then the scene where Echidna says some mysterious thing to her. And then they're like, oh, the Chimera's here. And they're like, what the heck, Annabeth?
Annabeth, you just said this was a safe place.
Yeah, that scene... was really well done. Leah's acting,
top tier. I'm not gonna lie.
It was well done. I thought Walker did a great job of playing off.
Oh, and then
Leah.
Also, like Walker's acting when he was like, "But I did that. I don't want Annabeth being sad and being the blame for this action that I did." I know.
The way he was like, but I did that.
But I did that. Athena, be mad at me. Don't be mad at my girl Annabeth.
Don't be mad at my girl.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. Everyone knows. Everyone with eyes knows. Okay. So, the scene going up the elevator was really good. Mm-hmm. The scene where they get all the people out with the fire drill, that was really good. And then we have the scene where Percy pushes Annabeth out the way. That was amazing.
Beautiful.
And so this also does a really good job. Okay, bit of a spoiler. So the heroes have something called like a fatal flaw, which is basically, for example, hubris, not confidence, kind of arrogance.
Arrogance, that's the right word.
Yeah, so hubris.
If you don't want to know Percy's fatal flaw, I will again put a timestamp.
So in the third book, it is revealed that his fatal flaw is loyalty, which sounds weird, but it makes sense later. And basically, which also makes a lot of sense for that last book with Luke, but I won't get into that. And so basically, I thought this show, specifically this scene, did a very good job at showing his fatal flaw of loyalty. The fact that he was willing to push Annabeth out of the way even though he couldn't fight.
Even though he was literally poisoned.
Yeah. And also, I thought the poison scene did a great job. Oh, the scene where they were trying to splash the water to get the poison out of him.
Very good.
I thought that was a really good job. Now the fight scene. First of all, I'm sorry, but I hated that he was pushed and didn't jump. Because it showed he had to make a leap of faith with his dad.
Yeah, it showed his leap of faith, and it also showed how Percy had no thought process. He just went for it during fights, and it just worked sometimes. Here's the
thing. They could have still had the thing where he's, like, hanging on. He should have just, like, looked at the monster and, like,
boom!
Dropped. He should have just, like, taken his hand off and, like, fell.
Because he fell. He didn't take his hand off. He fell.
That's what I thought they were going with, because I was waiting for him to jump, and it never happened. And then I saw that the monster just, like, kind of pushed his hand off, and I was waiting for him to purposely let go, and it just didn't happen. And the actual fight scene wasn't horrible, but wasn't great either. For me,
it's just they're just struggling in that department.
It very much feels like to me that they're struggling to deal with the CGI monsters and, like, the fighting.
Yes.
Fighting with CGI monsters.
Yes.
Because it's easy to make two people fight. It's hard to make a 12-year-old fight a chimera.
That's true. Very Fox. The freak with the pearl scenes, that's later. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I know.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
So it ends with him falling in the river.
Living life. Okay, then episode 5. Right?
Yeah, episode 5.
Episode 5. Annabeth sees the people cutting the freaking yarn, whatever.
I liked that they included that because I thought they cut it out. And it made me sad.
I wouldn't be surprised if they cut that scene out.
Yeah, but I like that they managed to include it.
Yes. The hug.
The hug.
My mom doesn't get it, and I'm like, you will.
You will, sweetie. She doesn't like the ship.
She just doesn't see it. Like, she's like, girl, why you, like, giggling every 5 seconds? And I'm like, you'll see. You'll see.
Literally the best book couple. Don't fight me.
No.
Actually,
fight me.
I will rock your shit, okay? I take this very seriously.
Third wheel Grover once again.
It's okay, Grover. Me too.
Honestly,
I've been there.
This whole episode, I don't have that many qualms with besides Grover and Aries' conversation.
Okay, well, we have to talk about the scene with the love thing. We have to talk about
don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
No, we have to talk about the throne scene, but also that. Okay, tell me about Grover and Aries' conversation first.
It's just like, I think it's good for, like, a TV show way, but there's something off about it that I cannot explain to you that I just don't like about it.
That's kind of how I felt. I was like, I like where they're going, but something feels a bit off. I think the editing could have fixed it.
It's the editing and just, like, the way Ares is in this show.
The gods definitely feel more comedic.
As the people say, they feel nerfed.
Like, Zeus doesn't feel nerfed, but
Zeus
Ares
doesn't feel nerfed.
Ares and Hades are nerfed.
Very badly. Like, we don't...
I think they could have felt more intimidating if the editors did their job.
If they did their job. Okay, yeah, I think that's, like, my biggest reason why I don't like that
But I
scene.
also liked Ares being goofy. I'm like, they just needed to balance that goofiness with the actual intimidation factor.
Yeah, because we were, like, just intimidated because he was Ares, not because he did stuff to be intimidated.
Like, there is literally this scene in the book where he, like, takes off his sunglasses and Percy's like, I looked into his eyes, which were literal balls of fire, and saw, like, every word ever, and I wanted to KMS. That's the scene.
Pretty much. Anywho, besides that, this episode's really good. The change.
Here's the thing. Okay, I like it. I do have one issue with it, but you talk first.
I know what that issue is. I feel like I know that.
Yeah, I think we all know.
I think TV show wise, it made sense.
Yeah.
Everything made sense for TV show wise.
It's not the spiders, by the way.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell you my issue.
Okay. Yeah, so in the original books, it was spiders. That was, like, the last thing that they had to do.
Instead of, like, the throne.
Yeah, and it showed a sphere of spiders, and it was a whole thing, whatever. And in this, they chose the throne, which I think was a good change, like, direction-wise and writing-wise and money-wise. And it was everything executed well. Why was the god there? He really didn't have to be there. I know he had to. It's his
theme park, actually.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
It felt unnecessary still. Like, there's too many. Like, you're not gonna have any intimidation factor if you introduce half the gods with these weird, funky, haha personalities. Like, they're supposed to be these entities.
Hephaestus's personality didn't feel haha. Like, he felt more intimidating than Ares.
Which is weird.
Not in, like, an intimidation way, but he felt like he'd been alive for centuries, bro.
Yeah, and, like, the big thing with the first, like, 2-3 books is that they're supposed to be these entities. Like, if you see them,
untouchable.
Untouchable. If you see them, you fucked up. You are doing something wrong. Hermes
always felt goofy, but, like,
that's Hermes, man.
Yeah, bro, he shows up in the second book with, like, he shows up with vitamin gummies and, like, salt, pepper hair is how it's described, and he's, like, jogging on the beach, and he shows up, and he's like, what's up, bro? And he gives him gummy vitamins, a water bottle with air in it, and goes, good luck.
Tell my son I said hi.
And then he just jogs away in, like, tracker shorts and, like, a compression t-shirt, probably.
It's hilarious. He's the only god where he's not supposed to feel like
he was always goofy.
But, like, it just annoys me. But anyway, besides that, this episode's really
had, like,
good.
a fishing hat. Like,
the
Hawaiian shirt with, like, probably the puka shell necklace. He's just dressed like a frat boy.
Definitely. Okay, you go.
Let me talk, because I have feelings about this. Okay. So, I actually liked the inclusion of the Hephaestus lore. Mm-hmm. In Greek mythology, it was actually a golden net that he used to trap Zeus, but I'm like, I don't really care. Like, it's not a big deal.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? It's not that big of a deal, guys.
You changed Hephaestus' story?
No!
The horror.
Not Hephaestus, my king.
My favorite god.
Actually, that is some people's favorite god. So.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, actually.
My bad.
So, what was I saying? Yeah. So, I liked the initial scene where, again, Percy decides to sacrifice himself. And I liked him very, very obviously feeling, like, inadequate. He's like, you guys don't need me.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the actual scene of him getting trapped to get the shield. However, okay, so they had been doing this thing where in the books they kind of hadn't brought in this up till later.
Mm-hmm.
But they are obviously making, like, the flaws of the gods a very adamant theme. However, they had already brought in this up so much in the last 2 episodes
that this scene,
it just
No, the last like 4. Man,
specifically
like,
the last
episode.
2.
Yeah.
And specifically with Medusa and Annabeth's mom, Athena. Specifically Medusa, though. Which, with Medusa...
And Poseidon. They talked about
not as
Poseidon
much,
a lot.
though.
Yeah.
But with Medusa, it felt very well done. However, this scene, for me, it felt...
unnecessary.
Not even unnecessary, but I'm like, it should have been more subtle.
Yes.
They were screaming in your face what they wanted you to think.
Our opinions were kind of the same with the throne scene.
Yeah, you just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
I knew you felt the same because we mentioned it.
Yeah.
It's just someone had to bring it up. But it felt like it was, like, being thrown in my face. Like, I'm like, I think they needed a little bit more subtlety or, like...
Definitely. Just don't have it at all, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like, or they could have very easily shown this, but they were yelling in my face that this was what they wanted me to think.
Yes.
It was just, it felt too much. But I liked the change, it just, the execution felt off.
A little weird. It was, for the most part, good execution.
Yeah, for the most part. It's just like, eh.
We need to talk about how Percy was like, if you don't respect me or whatever, you're gonna find out who I am.
Oh, yeah.
To the god of war.
And then he fought him. Oh my gosh. This guy really is the son of Jesus, because Jesus Christ, what is he doing?
He is the definition of doing it for the plot.
I know. Everything he does, he's like,
oh well, let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. What do you
He's the definition of acting before he thinks.
Yes.
Which is why I wanted him to jump off the arch. Anyway.
Okay, next episode.
Okay. So I loved the beginning where they were stuck in the thing and Grover was like looking out the top of like the van. It was funny.
This entire episode was so weird.
And then Iris call Luke.
No explanation of... Slight explanation of who Iris is, nothing else. Nothing else.
I don't think you needed too much explanation for this. And this whole call was so weird.
Why are you guys acting like an old married couple?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm the biggest Percy shipper. I hated that.
Gross.
First of all, I hated that Luke randomly was like, since when did you guys start acting like an old married couple?
Luke would never say this.
And then Percy and Annabeth say nothing. They just sit there. If that happened in the books, it would have been like, that's disgusting.
Annabeth would have been like, F you, Luke.
She would have been like, that is actually disgusting.
Luke would never say this, ever.
Yeah. It was just so random. They clearly just did it because they like Percybeth. And I was like, I love Percybeth. Don't
mess with that. Okay, I liked the idea of like Clarice being the fake lightning thief.
Yeah, cool. I loved that they included
Great.
that, and I think it made a lot of sense for where their minds were at.
But not including the zebra scene.
Yeah, we already talked about that though. It's just like, it's not like important, but it's annoying.
It doesn't help this episode because it makes me so annoyed.
Yeah, because I'm like, there are already so many big actual things they did wrong that I'm like, it's just even the nitpicks are like feel insulting.
Yes.
Now. That whole call with Luke was weird, especially the married couple. I will say, I loved the scene where Grover released the animals, and he was like, I have a plan, and then they're just like wandering. That was well executed. The editing was actually good.
Don't worry, they're gonna be okay. Percy, I was talking about the humans.
Yeah. I thought it also showed Grover's character. I don't know. The whole thing was super cute. I liked when they were like, where's the Lotus Casino, guys? And Annabeth was like,
right there. Maybe with the lotus flower on top.
Also, I liked how they actually had a reason to go to the Lotus Casino. I don't even remember why they went in the books.
I know there was a reason. I can't think of it.
I don't even remember why they went in the books.
Look it up.
Okay.
This is gonna annoy me.
Because in my memory, I remember them just showing up there. They also had no clue in the books that the Lotus Casino was like...
Okay, I'm gonna talk about my complaints, and then you can... Yeah, while you're looking that up. Anyway, so freaking the Lotus Casino is supposed to be this, like... Oh my god, everything about it is amazing. I never want to leave. Oh my god. Blah, blah, blah. They get, like, these like, the three of them get, like, these big passes. They
have like a whole suite.
They
with,
have
like,
a
hot
suite.
tub.
They have a hot tub. They get
it's literally just because they needed a hotel in the books. That's what I thought. Which I like them going for an actual reason. I just didn't like that they knew what it was.
Yeah, there was video games. There was like freaking, and it wasn't there in the casino. And I get it. Like it was
just a normal casino.
It was just a casino, and making them more smart, I thought was a good idea, but it was executed weird. Just that part was weird.
Also, I thought, like, it could have been interesting if they knew what this place was and they still got, like, wrapped up into it. Because I don't think it ruined it that they knew what it was. I think the thing that ruined it is this place was not enchanting. If I went there, I wouldn't be like,
I just think it was another Vegas freaking casino.
Yeah, I'd walk in, walk out 5 seconds later. Like, I'm going to the New York, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to the Excalibur. Like, I'm like, that place is not, it didn't feel special. Literally in the books, this lady walks up to them, gives them, like, black VIP passes to, like, the 12th freaking thousand floor or something. They have a giant suite. They have unlimited food. They have unlimited everything. Like, completely, like, lose themselves in this casino.
It's just so weird.
Also, I hated that they brought up Luke's mom.
Hey, no, they did it badly. They
did it badly.
They could have been fine. They did it amazingly, but they did it horribly.
The execution of Luke's mom in the books was perfect.
Beautiful.
There is this... Okay.
There was no reason that she needed to be mentioned.
Okay, if you don't want spoilers, skip. But there is this scene... There's this line in the book where it's like, I thought about Luke's mom baking cookies in the kitchen, like, waiting for a son who would never come home. And it is, like, gut-wrenching in the books. But in the show...
It's now going to be ruined.
Yeah, and also, you don't know anything about his mom. You don't know anything about Luke other than he, for some reason, has issues with his dad.
Hates his dad.
And has... Until the, like, last book. You don't find out till the last book.
You don't know. That's why it's so intriguing. You're like, why is Luke this way?
And they don't tell you what happened completely. But they're like, something happened with his mom. And I'm like, don't. And also, it was badly done. It felt like info dumping. They were like, here's info about the characters.
It could have been fine if Annabeth was just like, yeah, Luke's never been the same when blah, blah. Like, something he could other than what you did.
He could have just said, like, literally... It was also, the scene was too long. I feel like it literally, if they had to do it...
2 seconds, never mention it again.
Yeah, it could have just been like, Annabeth was like, yeah, I was there the last time Luke
saw his mother. Boom, done.
Saw his dad. Because she was like, there, like, the last argument they had. And Percy literally just could have been like, what happened? And she just, like, looks at him and looks away. That's all it had to be.
That's all you had to do.
Because that would have also built intrigue. Instead of Annabeth being like, let me spill all this very personal info about...
Let me spill his last name. Mm-hmm. What? That is important information. You're not supposed to know his last name.
It was one of the only things I genuinely hated about the series is... And the viewers, the people who haven't read the books might be like, why is this such a big deal? It is a big deal, trust me. Like, you're literally throwing hands right now. Let's talk about...
Hermes. Let's talk about Hermes.
Let's talk about Hermes.
That's great. I think that was executed pretty well.
I will mention this because I think it's important. I think, so we obviously know Lin-Manuel Miranda can act. He may be a meme, but he can act.
He is a good actor.
He is a meme, but he can act, so we'll let it go. Well, no, we can't let it go, but, like, we'll, like, not acknowledge everything
his
about
memeness.
Him. We won't acknowledge Lin as Lin for
as
now.
a person.
Let's just talk about him as an actor for a second. We know that he's a good actor, yet even in my opinion, his acting felt worse than usual because of the editing.
Yeah, it's just the editing.
And I think that's important to acknowledge, that even the editing is affecting people who we know for a fact are, like...
great actors.
Yeah.
Top tier. Not top tier. Like, good actors, okay?
Like, is he Meryl Streep? No, but he can act. And even his acting felt a little worse because the production team did not carry. That's all I'm gonna say.
I did like when he mentioned that Lucas mentioned dropped everything.
Yeah, me too. The moment they were like, I know your son.
His eye, you could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Everything he dropped, and then boom, got into a conversation.
The way he completely was just like, oh, demigods, and wasn't actually acknowledging them.
Did not care. Didn't even remember Annabeth, because clearly Annabeth was there for their last fight.
Yeah, and the moment that they bring Luke up.
Boom!
Also, I really like that you could see some of his power. Like, the way he immediately was
great.
Like...
That was great.
Pa-pow, the best adjective. Pa-pow-pow.
That's not an adjective. That's a onomatopoeia.
Oh my god. Actually... You're like,
Actually, according to
the encyclopedia...
Okay, shut up. We're gonna get drunk. This is already an hour and 19 minutes long.
Okay,
we're only halfway through.
Okay. It's fine. We got this.
Okay. It was great. I didn't love the Annabeth and Lynn part. I liked the Percy and Hermes dynamic. I don't know how I feel about Annabeth.
Okay, so I remember you mentioned that you didn't like that we didn't get to see that scene. Like what?
I changed my mind.
Okay.
I just like my first initial, but I really looking into it and really thinking about it. It made more sense
for the character, yeah.
Because Annabeth at that point is just a very closed off,
very defensive,
defensive person. It makes sense. I get it now. I was just thinking about the entire series, Annabeth.
That's
true. My bad.
Okay, so also I like the scene where he touched Percy's hand, and we just got that quick flashback.
And then we got it later. Great.
Yeah, that was great. People were complaining a lot that we had a lot of random flashbacks. I'm like, no.
Important.
All the flashbacks, even though some of them, even just Percy and swimming lessons seemed
integral.
Random. It's very clear that
they're purposeful.
We didn't get a lot of the inner monologue of Percy explaining how much he loves his mom in the books. So I feel like we needed them. Because his relationship with his mom, especially in this book, is so important.
Yes.
Because it's his only motivation for everything.
He did not give a shit otherwise.
Literally, he was like, the gods don't know them.
I don't care. So, yeah, that was all fun.
So, I liked Annabeth pickpocketing Hermes.
Hilarious.
Oh, the stuff with Grover. Should we... I feel like it was good.
It was there.
I don't really have anything to say.
My favorite thing about this episode was all the hints.
Yeah.
And this very, very slight, you had to put your volume up to level 50. You could hear Nico and Bianca.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was fun. That was good for the book readers.
Yeah, the Grover stuff was I don't really have a lot to say about it.
It was there.
It did what it needed to do, but it still wasn't enough to show the intrigue of the casino.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely. Okay.
I like the scene where Percy drove.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Could not keep his eyes off Annabeth, and that's why they crashed.
I like the scene where he drove, and I liked...
he talks to it. This is the Pearl scene.
And this is why I wasn't letting you move on. Now let's talk about the beach scene right after.
First of all, you find out that the solstice passed. What the freak?
I mean, I don't hate it, but I feel like it got rid of so much of the... Here's the thing. I feel like it could have worked, but it didn't. We did not see the destruction. They made it very clear in the book. So the moment that a war starts between the two most powerful gods, it's gonna be over.
Death was happening. This war was breaking out.
The way Chiron describes it, he's it was literally the sea.
World War III is about to happen.
Yeah, literally the sea fighting with the sky, horrible natural disasters. And the solstice passed, and here's the thing. It could have worked, but nothing happened.
The thing, they're no guys, we did mention it. It was on the radio for 5 seconds in the next episode.
And also, you literally saw the sea and the sky, and they looked chill.
Come on, guys.
Rick,
come on.
Unless you could properly show, the fact that there was an outbreak, then you
All
shouldn't
you
have
had to
included
do-
it. It just wasn't necessary.
Like, one slight thing they could have done was later when the Ares fight happens, is the tides are, like, fucking going.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. It was a chill water. The water was fine.
The sky was slightly cloudy. That's what happens. That's what happens when Zeus gets angry. The sky is slightly cloudy today. Here's the thing. They could have made it work, and I think they were trying to add tension and trying to, like, show that Percy was, like, he was valuing this quest for more than just his mom.
Which is a good idea, but show the war, show the outbreak, show why this is important.
They could not make the solstice pass and not show the consequences of the solstice passing. They should have just not done it if they couldn't execute it.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, you did not have the time or energy to put what you needed to put in, so you just shouldn't have done it. It was just unnecessary.
The four pearls were unnecessary. You lost it anyway. Why have it at all?
No, they used them. Annabeth,
I'm talking about Percy originally gets 3 in the books. Yeah. They gave him 4 in the TV show, and I don't get why they did. It made no sense, and it was unnecessary to have.
I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to remember what happened. Grover loses one.
Yes.
Which they didn't need to do that if they had 3.
Yes.
And Annabeth uses one to get away when she's trapped, and then they both use theirs to... So just, why have the thing of Grover losing his?
It was unnecessary.
It was just a weird thing to add.
It was to fill time.
But I'm like, you guys don't need to fill time.
You don't need it. I don't get why having it at all. Because you don't need to fill the time because you have so many other things you could be doing.
Here's the thing. I feel like it sounds like we hate the show. We do not.
We love the show.
It's just, okay, we are complaining because we care, okay?
We want this show to have a season 2.
We want this show to have a season 5.
We want it to get there. We love the show. We think this is a good adaptation.
Here's the thing. The reason that I'm critiquing it so much is because I know it has potential.
The potential's
and
way
they just
there.
need to figure out their issues so they can fix them.
Yeah, because all TV shows need it. We're just pointing out them issues.
And also, we're just very passionate.
I was on the floor 5 seconds ago. We are passionate.
Yeah, she was, like, banging her fists against the floor when we were talking about, like, the war. But anyway, so...
he gets the pearls. The mattress scene.
Okay,
man.
So let me explain what happened in the books.
This is the next episode. This is episode 7. No, 6. This is 6 because 7 is the Ares fight and blah, blah, blah. No, it is.
Yeah, this is episode 7.
Yeah. Okay, my bad.
So we, like, messed up the episodes at some point, but it doesn't matter. No one actually cares.
No one.
So let me explain what happened in the books because it was very funny. So, as you know, there's, like, what's his name? Like, Krusty.
Yeah.
Crustaceous is his actual name, but it's, like, Krusty. And he owns a mattress store. And for some... Oh, yeah. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover get, like, chased by delinquents. So they go in the mattress store. And they don't know who Krusty is at this point. And he's like, hey, guys, want to try out my mattresses? And both Annabeth and Grover get stuck in the mattresses. And I love this scene for no reason. It's just so good. It's so good in the books. I can't even explain it. And then Percy traps Krusty in his own mattress and is like, just a little bit off the top, and slices him in half.
For the funsies.
Yeah, and then they leave. Like, was it actually important to the plot?
No!
But it was amazing. And I don't hate the idea of, like... Krusty's, like, mattress story being the entrance to the underworld purely because it cuts out the middleman.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this in because I don't know where else this is going to go.
Yeah.
The way they're trying to do these type of scenes, like with the casino and Krusty's, is they're trying to make it how, Percy has more knowledge about Greek, which is fine. Yeah. It can be done well. But there's no thought process. It's just he walks in and he immediately knows.
Okay. I thought it was implied that they told him that that entrance was to the underworld. Because they already know when they walk in. So I thought it was implied that at the beach he gets told that.
Yeah, but, like, how would he know it's Krusty?
No, I thought it was implied that they were like, this is Krusty's mattress store, aka Crustaceous, and the entrance is there. So I thought it was implied that he was told.
I have no idea. I mean, like,
because it doesn't make sense for him to walk in and be like, oh, man who I've never met and have no proof that is a Greek monster. You're a Greek monster, and the entrance to the underworld is obviously there. I thought it was implied he was told, or they already knew.
Yeah, but I mean, like, me personally, I didn't get that, so I think show people won't get that.
Yeah.
So that's what it's more like I'm complaining. It's fine to do that. It's just that it's just like that Percy walks in and he knows stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just not good writing.
So I think the Lotus Casino, it's very obvious how they knew. It's literally called the Lotus Casino.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I feel like the Lotus Casino, it makes sense they knew, but the Krusty, unless... I thought it was implied they were told, but if they weren't told, it makes no sense.
I'd have to finish rewatching the entire show.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do you know this?
I don't know. You guys comment down below if you thought it was implied. Because I had assumed it was...
Anywho,
but
freaking Krusty's, she's trapped in the bed, and there's funny
actually,
scenes.
it was... In the books, I remember why it was relevant. They went to Krusty's, and, like, in his office, they found, like, where it said the entrance to the underworld was.
I forgot about that one.
Which they could have done that, but I'm like, it's fine. I cut out the middleman. I don't care. I just wish that, like, the scene was funny instead of serious. I'm sorry. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just, like, a personal thing.
Yeah, it was funny afterwards. I liked the stress ball part. That was
Me too.
funny. That was good. That was good writing. Like, Grover is, like, so stressed out that he needs the stress ball, and Annabeth's like, here, take this. Yeah. And then it's used later.
I like the scene with Cerberus.
I like how Percy's true New Yorker comes out when he's like, lines are for losers.
The lines are for losers. I wish they had the scene with Charon, the boatman.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's fine. It's not necessary. It's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
What happens next?
The freaking Mark of Athena, like, callback.
Yeah, okay, this was so weird. So, I don't know. So, there's a scene where Annabeth gets, like, stuck in this thing that... what did it say? It's, like, showing her regrets or something.
Oh, the freaking Field of Regrets or whatever.
Yeah, the Field of Regrets.
Whatever. It's called a fancier name, but who cares?
Interesting idea. What happened?
What happened? What was her regrets? It's never told.
They
never
have to bring it up next season.
That
actually wasn't in the book, so I'm like...
It wasn't in the books, it's something
I thought it was going to be something with her dad, which is... I thought she was going to bring up, and then she should be like, you should go, like, live with your dad, because that's what happens at the end.
We actually talked about this when the episode came out afterwards, and there's just so many... With book knowledge, there's so many possibilities of what it could be, but nothing really makes that much sense.
Other than, like...
two obvious things.
So, here's the thing. I thought they would talk about it in the last episode.
Yes.
And then Annabeth would be like, I regret leaving my dad without having a conversation. And then he would be like, you should try and rebuild your relationship. Because they have a scene in the books kind of like that. And that's why Annabeth decides to go back to try with her dad again, is because Percy's like, you should give him another chance. Yeah. And then she does. But he doesn't say that. She just does randomly.
She just is like, yeah, I'm going to my dad's. We have a great relationship.
And I'm like, 5 episodes ago, you were like, I hate my dad. And I was like, bitch, what the... Anyway.
So,
the Tartarus scene.
No, we need to talk about Hades.
No, because the Tartarus scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's before.
I liked it. I don't have a lot to say.
It was book accurate.
I like that it's, like, sandy and, like, kind of looks dead.
I mean, yeah, because it's, like...
I like how it looks different compared to the rest of the underworld.
Yeah, it really, like, gave you the vibe of Tartarus, because that's really important.
I liked the way the Master Bolt looked, even though it wasn't well explained why it was in his backpack. I know why it was in his backpack because of the book.
But the audience doesn't know.
Yeah, it wasn't really well explained. Like, they were like, oh, blah, blah, Aries, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you didn't actually explain how it got in your backpack.
Like there's no
But I like the design of it.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, now Hades.
I didn't like his castle. I wanted it to be
fair.
I wanted it to be, like, gothic. My bad, guys.
It's interesting. I just think it could have been a little bit better. Where was... Okay, the real question, where was Hades', like, scariness? Where did it go?
He was very different in the show. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either.
Because I think it's definitely, like, very much, like, Greek, for sure, like, in the Greek mythology,
I like how he wasn't
like
Satan.
That. Yes.
Because in the movies, he was literally Satan. And I was like, guys,
he's Greek,
not the devil.
Accurate, but
he's
at
just
the same
a goofy,
time,
awkward guy.
At the same time, where is any fear?
But
at all? You need both.
Because here's the thing. In the books, like, Hades is very awkward. However, in that book, he was pissed because he thought Percy was a criminal who stole his helm. In this one, he didn't feel mad at him. He was just like, hi.
I need my helm, by the way.
He was like, by the way, I have your mom. It's not like I literally kidnapped her.
It's not like I turned her into gold or anything.
I think it could have worked if he acted awkward and then had, like, moments of rage.
Yes.
But he was just awkward the whole time. He was just like,
hey. I liked Percy being like, no, this is the deal I'm making. He just does not care about the gods at all.
I like that.
Does not give a shit. Okay, they go back, boom, episode 8. Episode 8!
Episode
Man.
8, okay?
There's so many things
There's
about
so
this
much to talk
episode
about.
that I want to talk. Okay, let's scene by scene like we've been doing.
Okay, so, Ares. The tension at the beginning of the fight, great.
Here
I thought the fight...
is you go, because mine is, like, a huge thing.
Okay, you go first.
No, you go. Mine's the thing.
I don't actually have a lot to say about the fight.
It's fine.
So
It's fine, because you're gonna forget once I start mentioning this part.
No, I'm not. Just go. Trust me. Trust me.
God. Okay, again, if you don't want spoilers, if I remember, I'll put a timestamp. Cool, fun times. So, one of my biggest complaints was in this fight, one big, humongous thing that Ares says that is very, very important is that at one point, Percy's sword will fail him.
Mm-hmm.
It will not work. And it's important because it's mentioned 2 books later, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
In the show. And it's important.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, I forgot, but someone pointed it out. I was like, oh my god, you're so right. It's a huge thing in the 3rd book, because Percy's like, oh my god, Ares was right.
Yeah, Ares is like, you just made an enemy out of me. At one point,
your sword's going to fail.
And in the show, he's just like, you like made me mad.
I'm running away now. But like, it's a huge thing. And it's like, Percy worries about it. It's a thing he fears is going to happen for like the next 2 books. But it's just not mentioned.
Yeah. That was my, now that you mention that, that's definitely my biggest problem with that scene. I liked how Ares beat his ass down.
Yes.
And Percy, like, barely managed to hit him.
My 2 positives was I liked the, like, back and forth. It was a good, like, good battle. Okay? Yeah. And then secondly, I like how when the wave happened and Percy looked so intimidating, I like it because for book readers, we only saw Percy's perspective and he was like, oh, it's just an okay wave.
Yeah, he was like, I just like did it and it was fun.
It just showed up. It showed how everyone sees Percy in not his perspective, because it's a huge thing in the books where it's like
Percy thinks he's a goofy guy and everyone's like, you're so scary.
He's a unreliable narrator, but you just don't know it. But in the TV show, it's so funny because he's just like this very intimidating person otherwise.
Okay. There was the one issue I had with the fight, other than what we just talked about, is I didn't really like how fast-paced the fight was. It was just like, it was Ares beating him down. I was like, that's fine. And then how slow-paced the wave felt right after.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, why wouldn't Ares just beat him down once he was down? Why is he waiting for him to, like, crawl back up to show him his wave? I'm like, just beat the man while you got him on his knees, bro.
Yeah. For real.
Like, I'm like, it's like that scene where you're watching the villain monologue for, like, 20 minutes. So I'm like, you're lost.
Dead.
You lost because you monologued. But he wasn't even monologuing. He was just standing there like, okay, I'll give you time to make a wave.
Yeah, but it was an okay thing throughout the entire thing. The cabin, Rick talked about this before the episode came out. I don't know if I didn't tell you this, but Rick talked about how, so I changed Percy going to the original beach Because it would make no sense for Percy to get on a plane at this point.
Yeah.
It would make no sense. Zeus would be too pissed at him for stealing the bill.
Especially because it's after the solstice.
So Rick was like, yeah, I'm changing it. It just makes more sense. And I'm like, I agree with you, man. So I like the change. Rick likes the change. Let's live life, guys. Let's stop complaining.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not even a big deal. So let me just say this. So there is this big plot point going on in the books that is not brought up. So Percy is wanted by the cops the entire book. It's mentioned
once by
It's
Ares.
mentioned, like, twice.
Yes.
So Gabe mentions that he thinks that, like, he killed Sally, basically, his mom.
Percy killed Sally.
Yeah,
that Gabe killed Sally.
He kind of, like, infers that he's like, he was just so messed up. And there's a scene
he was a very troubled
where Ares shows it on the news. And it happens way more in the books. And so the whole time, the cops are after him because he set the arch on fire. He set a bus on fire and attacked a bunch of old ladies, aka the Furies. Like, he just keeps doing all this random, horrible stuff across the country because the mist is hiding what's actually happening. And then at the beach, what happens is they think that he had a gunfight with Ares, aka a kidnapper, and because
people showed up at the end of this fight with Ares.
Yeah, because people were on the beach, and the cops find Percy, and he's like, I didn't do anything. We were just trying to escape my kidnapper the whole time, and then I fought him gunpoint, is basically what he tells them happens, and then they think the kidnapper just, like, ran away. And that's how he gets proved innocent, is because they're like, well, obviously it's this grown man.
It's just super goofy.
And it's so funny. And when they're at the diner, this old woman, not old woman, but their waitress is like, yeah, I saw those kids from TV, like, with a threatening man who was, like, obviously threatening them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a big plot point. And they mention that, like, Gabe is telling people that Percy, like, killed his mom, basically.
Yeah.
And then nothing comes of it. It's so strange. Anyway.
And then Percy comes home to his mom later. Whatever.
And then, like, Gabe's just got whatever. Anyway, Gabe gets turned into stone with Medusa's head in the book, but
beautiful, top tier.
But that's because he was actually abusive, so he kind of didn't want it to happen in this one. But
okay, so we fight Ares. We get to the cabin. The Fury shows up, takes the helm. Whatever. Who cares? And then the Percy best scene where she
gives him the necklace
for luck, which is so ironic knowing things. Just, it's fun times, okay? It's just fun times.
I liked how it had the ring on it.
And that he touches it.
Yeah, he's
after,
like,
whoa.
I really liked
the conversation. I liked the conversation that they all had.
Before they go to
like, where Percy's like, I gotta sacrifice myself, and it showed their bond really well.
Yeah, I like how they kind of have Percy's self-sacrificial, like, tendencies are very relevant and, like, shown
everything in this.
It's one of the nice things that's, like, shown but not told.
Very rare moment.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Okay, I really liked the part where he shows up to the Empire State Building and just, like, slaps the bull on the desk and is like, I don't have an appointment. And I know that's a scene from the book, but still. I liked Mount Olympus.
I don't like how they faded to black.
They always fade. It's not even a fade, it's just black.
It's just like they showed this beautiful thing. It was great. The CGI was good. And then it, boom, faded to black. Like,
they fade to black and they cut to black too often.
Oh my god, Lance did amazing.
As Zeus.
I'm upset he's not continuing with this.
He's not?
He died. He died before the premiere even came out.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cut this part out.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
I am so upset about it because he did amazing.
It was like perfect.
He did not mess up.
One
he
of
did
the
not flop.
only gods who's intimidating. He did an amazing job.
He did amazing. Poseidon showing up. He did okay. We didn't talk about Poseidon and Sally.
the Poseidon and Sally flashback was perfect. It was perfect.
Everything.
I have nothing wrong with that scene. No complaints.
That it conveys, everything about like their dynamic throughout the entire series, throughout what's happening now, what their dynamic is at that moment. It's perfect.
It also explains why Sally didn't take him to camp, because she doesn't mention that she didn't want to.
We're never really told, because like it's Percy's perspective.
Yeah.
And it's a good, beautiful way to show why Sally didn't want to.
And also the moment that she called on him, he was like, I'm here, what can I do?
Literally just dropped the fire in.
And she was, boom, the rain. Oh, it was so good.
And then, as soon as he looked at Percy, the lightning striked.
Oh, so good. And this was one of those scenes I watched, and I was like, if the entire show was like that, on my knees, bro. Look at how much louder we are right now.
I know.
Okay.
Okay. Back
it up.
Okay, he did great. Lance did amazing. R.I.P. Rest in peace. Did great. I wish you could have seen it. Poseidon, he did okay.
I thought he did a good job.
Specifically
in the flashback.
Specifically in the flashback. I think it could have been the tiniest bit better in Olympus.
I think it's just because Lance did such a good job.
Yeah.
He got foreshadowed. He got overshadowed. Not foreshadowed.
He did get overshadowed.
I really liked him coming to save Percy, because Percy was obviously being
he was being a bitch.
Yeah, he was being a little shit, okay.
Yeah, he was being a 12-year-old. Okay,
Percy definitely had a prank channel at one point.
People were complaining, because of course they did, about how Poseidon didn't mention how, like, Sally's a goddess.
He doesn't do that until, like,
he says it in, like, the first one. He says something about Sally in the first one.
Yeah, but he doesn't get into the fact that he was like, I will build castles for you and make you immortal until later.
Yeah, but, it didn't mention anything.
Also, like, Percy almost just died, and they've never had a conversation. Like, maybe don't be like, your mom's so hot, bro. Your mom is such a baddie.
But people were complaining that whenever Percy mentioned Sally, that he just didn't say anything and then threw the
It was
pearl.
very obvious that he's madly in love, bro. Did you see his face?
But I commented this, that, like, I think it was to show how even Poseidon, this dude who you just saw where you're like, oh my god, I should be in love with him. Sally and Poseidon. No. It's to show how he can also be disappointing. That he is also a disappointing person, and that he's not this picture perfect person. Like, or figure.
I really liked the acting when Percy would mention Sally, his face. Good. It would be like crestfallen, disappointment, longing, all in one. Like, it was obvious that he felt
the emotions
strongly
he felt for Sally.
About her. Like, I know I made a joke about him being madly in love. Not necessarily love, because it's more complicated than that.
It's like a first love type feeling.
Yeah, obvious that, like, he was madly in love with her at some point.
Yes. But that's how I felt about, like, why
I actually liked it. Sally. I actually really liked that.
I did like it. So...
And especially because this is the first time he's met Percy. Why would he be like,
your mom.
Bro.
So your mom.
Your mom. You know, in between the sheets, bro.
Oh. Okay, so
anyway.
Basically, after that, Pearl is thrown, Percy's back.
Yeah, I definitely think having the summer solstice already passed made the whole thing more complicated than it needed to be. Because based on what we know from Zeus in the books, I'm like, just because Poseidon was like, I retreat, he would have been like, well, I'm still gonna beat your ass. I don't care. But whatever. Because Lance did a good job, so he did an excellent job, so it overshadowed.
Okay, but how did they get Annabeth's hair like that in less than 24 hours?
Well, if you saw, she still had braids in. They just, like, braided the braids.
It's just, I find it funny. But anyway, her hair looked beautiful.
I know. Oh, she's so beautiful.
I love you, Leah.
Anytime the three of them are together, she's mogging them, okay? That's all I'll say.
Queen Leah.
It's kind of embarrassing, because, dude, that photo where Walker is in costume, and Leah's, like, in this beautiful outfit, this, like, beautiful, like, big, fuzzy jacket. Orian's got his, like, cute little sweater on, and Percy's just, like, not even... Walker. Sorry, he was in his Percy outfit, is what I meant to say. His costume.
The hug was beautiful.
The
conversation in it. I feel like a lot with after... Just, like, Olympus and on this episode did amazing. Yeah. Good.
I really liked the fact that even though, like, Percy was coming back to all this, like, praise, it felt empty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He still felt like something was up.
Clarice, the scene where he looked at Clarice.
What a cutie!
Was so good. Cause why was Dior looking kind of...
She's always looking kind of...
Like, we gotta stop making Walker edits and start making Dior edits.
I've seen them, don't worry.
No, me too. I see them, but I'm like, favorites?
I liked the little conversation with Annabeth
and Luke.
And I liked how freaking Percy kind of put it together, but not like, it wasn't top tier, like, oh, Percy figuring it out. I think it was a little off, but I liked how he put that Luke was the traitor together in a same way.
I loved that whole Luke Percy scene, just
perfection.
Different. So people were complaining. So in the books, you've probably seen the jokes on TikTok, but in the books, Luke like just pulls out a soda,
seconds, Percy,
and pulls out a whole pit scorpion, and I was like, pit scorpions can jump up to 8 feet.
60 seconds, Percy.
It's in the books. It is so good. However, it makes more sense for him to want to recruit him, because literally later in the books he tries to recruit him, and it's not till like I think the third book that Cronus is like, you can never recruit Percy. It's not gonna work.
Yeah,
but he's still trying to do it. So I'm like, why would he kill him? Why would he try to kill him if he wanted to recruit him?
Okay.
But, like, you could also say, because why did he do the, like, Tartarus? But that's because he wanted the bolt to be given to... So, it still makes sense.
One thing I like, and then I'm going to say one thing that's kind of bothering me with that. One thing I liked was how everything, like, Luke was like, join me, you gotta join me, even ignoring Percy's request, join me. And then as soon as Percy mentioned Hermes... Boom.
Yeah,
switch
me too.
Flicked.
The way that the whole time he was not being violent at all. He wasn't even being intimidating.
Didn't want to touch him. Literally
he wasn't even being intimidating.
Was backing off. No, wasn't being intimidating.
He
backing
was
off.
Trying to make like Percy lower his guard and get into him. And then Percy was like, I talked to your dad, and he was like, I'm gonna beat yo ass.
It showed perfectly how Luke feels.
Yeah.
It was great. Okay. My huge complaint, which is weird and I don't know what was going on, was Annabeth being there is fine. It can be done well. They did it weirdly though.
Okay, let me explain why I don't like it. Do you mind?
No, go for it.
Thank you.
Go over.
So here's the thing. So I think the reason they put Annabeth is because they didn't want to have, like, the whole part of, like, them explaining all the blah, blah, blah. Basically, the aftermath. They cut out a lot of the aftermath of the Luke stuff. And a big part of that aftermath is Annabeth finding out and being, like, shocked. However, I liked the fact that Annabeth wasn't there, because even though everyone in her life was telling her, Luke is a traitor,
yes.
Luke is a traitor, she never saw it with her own eyes until almost like a full year later. And even then she couldn't accept it till like the fourth book.
Annabeth's biggest like problem with herself is that she refuses to believe things. Like when she's stuck on one idea, she keeps it in her head. And with her seeing it, it ruins this whole character arc of her finally, like, believing that Luke is the traitor, Luke is the problem.
Because she knows for a fact that Luke is a traitor. She sees what he's doing. But even until, like, I don't think even, like, I think the fourth book...
Not until, like, friggin' Battle of the Labyrinth,
yeah,
man.
But even then, like, the third book, she is literally fighting Luke, and she can't accept.
She can't do it. She doesn't lose anything she thinks of Luke until the fourth one, until Battle of the Labyrinth.
And I think one of the biggest things I liked about her finding out is that someone else had to tell her. She couldn't see it with her own eyes and validate it. And for a year, she had to go, well, what if they misunderstood him? What if they don't know him like I know him? Like, you could see that she was doubting. Like, she knew that it happened, but she couldn't believe it happened. And something very similar happens with another character who I won't name right now, but because she doesn't come back till the second book.
Yeah.
But that's why, and I know they didn't put Annabeth being there as a character trait. They put Annabeth being there as a way to...
Drama.
No, not drama. I think, for me, I think it was just so they could gloss over the aftermath.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to put all that stuff in there, because they just cut out a lot of, like, the building, like, scenes.
Okay.
Because they didn't deal with the aftermath at all. They just left camp. It's over. It's fine.
One simple line change that they could have done to improve this scene was, instead of having Annabeth say, I heard everything.
Yeah.
And having a blank face. No emotion.
There was emotion on her face.
I mean, yeah, but it was very sorry.
I don't know.
We'd have to rewatch it. I don't know. Anywho, all you had to do was, instead of telling again, all they had to say was, like, you promised, or, like, something more dramatic.
Okay, no, they can't put that line yet.
No, I know, or, like, something
I think it should have been something more, like, in denial.
Yeah.
Because I heard everything is, like,
I'm never forgiving you, like, what the freak, and that's not
it needed to be something like, how could you do this?
How could you do this? That's all they needed to change, and it could have been great. Could have been
like,
better.
It didn't have to be that exactly. Like, there's probably other lines.
Not
that
the you promise.
Because she could have been like, he could have been like Annabeth, and she could be like, this isn't what we had in mind, bro.
Ooh.
She was like, this isn't what we fought for. We fought to be safe.
Ooh. Just like any sort of line change, it would have been better.
Yeah. Because, like, I heard everything. That's something someone says when they're like, I caught you out.
I'm never forgiving you. We're never recovering.
Not when
from
it's
this.
like, I know that you're bad for me, but I want to forgive you.
Yes.
I want to believe that you can change. That's not the line of someone who wants to believe he can change.
And the last scene, it was good. It's just that there's so many things still unresolved.
Yeah. That's why I said they didn't want to deal with the aftermath.
The last scene at the camp, not like the last scene with Sally.
So the last scene at the camp was pretty good. I think they just had stuff before that they should have mentioned.
Yes.
I loved the face Walker made when he saw Sally again. I really liked...
The last dream was weird.
I really liked it, actually.
I liked it. It's just, I feel like it set up the Kronos more, but I feel like you needed some more context than the show gave to really understand what was going on. Because it doesn't really that make much sense if you're a new fan watching. I don't know.
I feel like it made sense if you're a new fan. I think it's just like we know so much more information that we want to add. Yeah. But I feel like it still makes sense. It's just...
I don't know. There's just...
I liked that he saw his mom again, and then it was his dream, and we woke up, and she was just, like, making him pancakes.
Pancakes.
The blue pancakes. I liked it.
It was, like, a full circle moment. Like, the blue pancakes.
And I liked that that's where it ended. I just wish after Luke, they had, like, scenes at camp.
Because it's a thing for every single camper.
Yeah.
Everyone who was there was
after camp, everyone's just, like, chill. They're like, whatever.
No, we just don't see it. Like, everyone was either devastated or mad, angry. Like, angry, devastated.
When we move on to the next season, we need to, like, physically see that there's been a change in the camp. We need to see that there's, like, the atmosphere is ruined.
I mean, like, obviously it needs to be ruined just because of what's going on at camp at the time, but also just not just the physical, but also the mental state of everyone and just everything.
Very curious to see how they handle Clarice in season 2.
Yes.
If we don't get a season 2, I'm gonna be mad.
I'm gonna cry.
Because, guys, I'm like, you can't cancel it just because you're a book purist. So it's like, it's not perfect. Like, obviously not.
No, nothing ever is.
I'm hoping Disney continues it because this is one of the most successful projects they've had in a while.
Probably.
Everything else is bombed.
So, I mean, like, what else can we add, really? There's not much.
Do you have any last thoughts on episode 8? And then we can do the show as a whole.
Yeah. Let me think in that brain of mine.
Okay. So, now that we've gone over the whole show, let's talk about the stuff we liked and the stuff we didn't like. And then we can give, like, an overall review. Pros and cons. So, the cons... editing,
telling, not showing.
Yeah. So the editing, telling, not showing.
Execution of new ideas.
Yeah. Which kind of falls into telling, not showing a little bit. There was gonna say, just like the production team in general, I felt like they had some kinks they needed to work out.
The gods
the pacing.
The gods were kind of weird. It was just
It definitely felt like an overload of a lot of stuff.
Yes. It was a lot of... Like, if you had minimal Greek mythology knowledge and stuff like that, you would be like, what?
You're like, who's this?
Whoa, chillax. Take it back a notch.
There were a few scenes... the info dumping. That was a big thing. Info dumping.
No Ambrosia mention is also in the cons.
Like, that is the biggest con, actually.
That's the biggest con
for me. I think the two things that hurt the show the most is the info dumping and the editing.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let's talk about the pros.
The pros?
The cast.
The cast.
I'm just so attached to the cast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The sets I really liked.
The Medusa change,
that's a big pro. I have pros. It's just like the overall vibe of the show just made me very happy.
The vibe was good.
The atmosphere. There were a few scenes where it felt a little bit off. The atmosphere. Zeus. Zeus is the pro.
He is
the man.
No, he's not. But
he is
the He's
the character.
He's there.
He is definitely a man. He acts like one too.
Yeah.
Because he's just dumb.
It's a girl.
Anyway. It's just what they
Grover.
do.
Grover is a
Grover.
Pro. There's pros. There's just, you can't really list them. They're just, like, there.
Well, I think the thing they definitely did the best with the show, is, so here's the thing, all the cons are very like tangible, where it's like, oh, these very specific things need improvement. Oh, the sword fighting was good. I like that.
Some of the fight scenes need to be better.
The fight scenes are a con, but the sword fighting specifically I like.
Yes.
Dior is a pro.
Yes. There's no explanation needed. She
just Dior.
Is. Dior.
Ugh.
Beautiful. We didn't really talk about how we felt about Mr. D's performance.
Mr. D was literally the exact actor I wanted to be cast for him, and then he was cast for him.
Yeah, he was like the biggest fan cast for him.
It was so funny.
He did good.
I'm trying to think of what else.
There's not much else to say. There's just good stuff and there was bad stuff, but it was an overall good season.
Here's the thing, like, were there cons? Absolutely. For sure. There were definitely things that need to be improved.
Was I crying on the floor sometimes about some of the changes? Yes.
But here's the thing.
Did I have a good time?
Yes.
Also, yes.
Every week, it was the only... Tuesday used to be my least favorite day of the week.
Not for those, 5 weeks.
Those 5 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. I was like, it is the day. Sure, there were, things I'm like, they could improve that. But overall, I was just so happy that...
we were here.
Yeah.
This was happening.
And all those things, they're not unfixable.
They're superficial things that can be changed.
They can be fixed pretty easily, I feel.
It's all about them finding the groove.
Yeah. They just need to find... Now that they've had some time to, pace themselves and figure out what they want.
Figure out what works, what doesn't, what needs to change. It'll work.
And I'm like, it's just... the biggest issue I had, not with the show, but was with the viewers who won. there were some people who were book purists and
movie purists.
There were
that shouldn't exist.
Okay, so here's the thing: people hated the movies until the show came out. The moment
Why
the show,
are the movies kind of better? What are you?
Did
talking
you watch
about?
the second movie?
Are we lying?
Because here's the thing: they're focusing on like 1 or 2 scenes from the movies that were good, and they're disregarding everything that made the movies bad.
Every single detail.
They're like talking about like the casino scene and like
sure, but that's not the point.
And here's the thing:
maybe
even if you like were like, but the show wasn't a 1-to-1 of the book because there were book purists, movie purists. It was weird. I don't know. The viewers were just overcritical of everything and couldn't be critical of stuff on like an actual, for a show in general, they should improve this.
Yeah.
It just bothered me.
They're just saying stuff and then just not caring about improving or getting another season.
But all the people on TikTok who were like, I want to audition and get blah, blah, blah. They made my heart happy.
They made my day.
I know, they were...
Me too.
And then Rick was like, you need an agent. And I was like, no!
My dreams are crushed.
I was like, who would I audition for? I don't know. I could be...
Selena.
You could be Selena, and I could be Talia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have those electric... But they're like gray blue. It's close enough.
You could get there.
I could get there with some contacts. I'll do anything. Anything, Rick. I'm not that much. I'm like younger than Olympian, actually. So if he can be 12, I could be any age.
I can be 16.
Yeah, I am 16. Not by season 2, but it's fine.
Not by season 2.
But anyway, I just really hope the show doesn't get canceled just because of people being overly complaining.
It's needed. It's for the good of life. I want another season.
Guys, you don't even understand how hard season 4 would slap if they got it right. Okay, season 3 would be insane.
Season 3 would go wild.
I know.
We need to give it a chance to grow.
I know that book 4 is my favorite book, but I feel like season 3 would be my favorite season. Kind of like how, you know how like Prisoner of Azkaban is your favorite Harry Potter movie, but it's not your favorite Harry Potter book?
Yes.
It's like that, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we said most of what we wanted to say. Episode 8 was a pro. Just on its own.
Just everything besides a couple things about the Ares fight.
Yeah.
But just everything overall, this show is good and can be better.
Yeah, it can be better, but there is
good. There's goodness of it all.
It has a very nice atmosphere.
Yes.
It's just very enjoyable.
So, on that last point, this is the end after a long 2 hour episode. And I appreciate for anyone who is here, and if you watch to the end, I'm being one of those people.
Yeah, we give you
give you an applause, and you comment
your thoughts. If you disagree with us, comment.
Just comment. I'd love to hear it.
Oh, comment a hate comment if you want.
Do it if needed.
Yeah, just give us the the interaction.
Give us your opinions. Give us your critiques of what we said. We want to know. And we appreciate anyone who watched to this far. So, see ya.
See ya next time, which will probably be very long.
Peace.
Peace.